Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks ever so much for joining me. I'm not going to be announcing the dates from here on in because I got it wrong again last week. I don't know how it happened, but I did. The date you're watching this is different from the day that I'm recording it anyway. So I'm abandoning the, it's February the 10th, blah, 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 because it doesn't work. Right, quick story for you. Those of you that are obviously within the group will already know this because a post went up and a photograph went up. But for those of you that don't, I was recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, so I thought it might be an idea to start getting my health in order. Now I've got a bit more time to myself. So I've started walking. Not too far, 30 minutes a day. I've got a circuit where I walk around the streets. I would have liked to have done it around the park, but it's been flooded. As I found out the first day I went, got to the bottom section and it was all underwater, so I had to come back again. But I've got a route worked out now around the streets, and it takes about 30-35 minutes, which is good. And I'm obviously listening to a podcast while I'm going round. As soon as I've got a podcast going, I'm good to go. And obviously when I've got my earbuds in, I can't hear anything around me. I can just about hear the cars, but nothing else. So one day last week, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm walking down Woods Lane, just past the local co-op, and I could hear somebody shouting, but I didn't realise that they were shouting me. So I just carried on walking, because whenever that happens, I'll normally turn around and acknowledge them, and it turns out they're not talking to me at all, and I feel a right fucking nana. So I carried on walking. A few yards down the road, I felt a little tap on my shoulder. Turned round, and it's our very own Guy. And now I haven't seen Guy, actually seen him, for must be 11-12 years. We used to work together where I'm working now. I actually worked in his department for a short while, and we got on really well. I love Guy. I think he's fabulous. But we've never actually kept in touch. But like I said to him when we bumped into him, with being on Facebook, you're never really completely out of touch. You feel like you know them anyway, so it didn't come as that much of a shock. The weird thing is, I didn't know what to say, and I said to him when I got back, I says, I've just got back with the biggest grin on my face because I've just met you, but I'm really sorry if I seemed a little bit awkward. As I explained last week, my social skills are bloody zero nowadays, and sometimes I just literally cannot think of anything to say. But it was really, really good to run into him. He got his phone out and obviously took a selfie of the pair of us, which got quite a few comments. So it was really good to run into you, Guy. It really was, and I look forward to seeing you again at some point soon. It was just really nice. I thought that was a really nice story, so I thought I'd share that with you. Anybody notice who's been missing? Now, this is probably by the by, because I'm guessing he'll be back by the time you watch this. But Lee disappeared off the face of the planet. Probably about a week ago, something like that. And he sent me a message on Facebook Messenger. Hey Tony, just so you know, for some bizarre reason, Facebook has blocked me from commenting on or sharing any of the chats. Their reason being, apparently I broke one of their silly little policies at some point. Lee, it's a bit like Facebook has put you over its knee and spanked your little bottom for being whatever it was you were doing, and you've done it again. I woke up this morning and in the notifications there is Lee has tagged me in a post. Went to look at it and this post has been removed, and I thought, oh my god, he's done it again. So if you've disappeared for another 7 days, I'll assume that that's what's happened. So, oh god, let me just show you something, Lee. This will make you laugh. This is something my dad gave me. This might cheer you up in light of your ban. I might play you a track from this later on. My dad gave me this. I've never dared show it off before. This is a CD that he used to love, the very best of the black and white minstrels. I always said to him, I remember saying to him, how do you know that they're the black and white minstrels if you can't see them? He said, oh, well, the cover, obviously. Yeah, that's not what I meant, Dad. But yeah, I sometimes have this on in the car. If I ever get stopped by the police, they'll think I'm in the KKK or something. But I just love it. It's just nice, easy listening music. But I thought I'd show you this, Lee, because I thought it might bring a smile to your face in light of your being exiled from the group for so long. Anyway, it looks like you're back, so welcome back, dude. Try to stay with us if you can. Oh God, right. I'll go on to comments on last week's video. Scott, amazing video, Tony. Cheers, Scott. Loved it as always. Brilliant stuff, mate. Appreciate that. Still need to see the original Planet of the Apes films, but heard amazing things about them. Will definitely give them a watch. The original, Scott, is a total stone cold 100% classic. Even if you don't watch any of the sequels, grab a copy of that one, because it is just brilliant. It's probably one of the movies that I've seen the most. I must have seen it 50, 60, 70 times, probably more than that. It's one of my go-to movies. If I can't find anything to watch or can't find anything that I fancy watching, I'll usually go for Planet of the Apes. The sequels are all good. They get increasingly dark as they move on, but they're all good. Watch out for Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. That's a bit of a bruiser, but they're all good. I did watch the 2001 reboot yesterday, which I'll be coming on to a bit later on. Not overly impressed, to be honest, but yeah, if you can watch the original, Scott, even if you don't watch any of the sequels, grab a copy of that, because I guarantee you will love every second of it. Steve Mack, great news about the threads, Jason. I'll make a concerted effort to post more this time round. Yeah, that's for you, Jace. I think you were announcing the other week that you weren't quitting the threads, but you were taking a bit of a break from them. But I think we've kind of sorted that out now. I think you've already got something in mind for next year. I mean, God, it's only February 2025, and you're already into 2020. There you go, dates again. February 2024, but you're already into 25. So yeah, so Steve's looking forward to it, most definitely. What else you put here, Steve? Well, I've sorted it. That movie video is coming. Got the info together. It's quite a mixed bag. Yeah, I think you mentioned something about a movie title a few weeks back, and I said you did happen to mention that you got quite a collection of movie titles, and I said I'd love to see them, and it looks like you've virtually got that sorted. So I'm looking forward to seeing your movie collection, and you've got a couple of Let's Talk Criterion videos that you posted on the group and on YouTube. So I'll be catching up with those very shortly. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the movie collection, mate. Absolutely. Just wanted to mention Steve Wright passing. His radio show was fun listening for me. I even found him on Luxembourg 208 back in the 70s before he moved to Radio 1. I used to love Steve Wright in the afternoon. I think that's what the show was called. This was when he was on Radio 1. I don't remember him before that, but his show, wherever I was working, it was essential listening. It just was. He was absolutely brilliant. I haven't listened to him recently, I've got to admit, but when I read of his passing, I thought that's sad news. It was just a legend, a total radio legend. ITV have bought the Bond films for transmission streaming in the UK. They will be cut and stuff dubbed over. Hardly a great surprise, is it? Unfortunately, this is the woke world that we live in now. They've probably already done it. Obviously, before they're going to stream them, they're going to cut them or dub them or what the hell ever they're going to do with them. I know they've done it before, especially when they screen in the mornings or in the afternoons. I've noticed bits being cut out of them. I'm just so glad that I've got that box set to fall back on, because I don't ever need to watch them when they're streaming or on TV. Same as the Carry On films. So yeah, that hardly comes as a massive surprise, Steve. It really doesn't. But it's a disappointment. You know what I mean? Like I've always said, sooner or later somebody has got to stand up and say, do you know what? We've had enough of this woke shit. Can we just stop it now? You know what I mean? All you people that are objecting to these tiny little things that really don't mean anything, can you just go away and do it somewhere else? So that's my thoughts. Mark, and my answer to a question from a few weeks ago, my movie snacks of choice are 8 cans of lager and a kebab. Oh my God. Now this is coming from somebody that hasn't drank for years, and I mean many, many years, decades probably. I don't know why I stopped. I know I used to smoke, and obviously I used to go out a lot. But when I stopped smoking, eventually after a million attempts, I kind of got bored of going out, which means I didn't drink much, if at all. And I'm certainly not much of a fan of drinking at home. Um, so the thought of drinking eight cans of lager and a kebab, I guarantee you that would backfire on me in such a major way. But that's your movie snack of choice. So your choice, dude, your choice. Guy. Oh God, here we go. I'll say this for Jamie Lee Curtis. She doesn't have many critics, but she has her fair share of knockers. How Sid James is that? Nice one, Guy. Great one, mate. Talking about the video. Thanks for that. Roadhouse 2. Don't. Just don't. I have no intention of doing. I didn't even know there was a sequel to it until somebody mentioned it on the back of that post that we put on about the original Roadhouse. No, it's not one I'm going to make a beeline for. If ever it happens to be on and I bump into it whilst channel hopping, I might watch a few minutes of it, but I can't see me watching the whole thing. I just can't. So no danger of that. Reacher, here it goes. Oh, go on. Oh, God, maybe, possibly. I've got so many things to get through, Guy. I can't see the point in putting myself through something that I know for a fact I'm probably not going to enjoy. But you never know, I may surprise you. Rob doesn't like pineapple on pizza. Sensible man. He doesn't like pizza. Sorry, he doesn't like pineapple, full stop. So pineapple on pizza is a definite no-no. Forever Young. Why is that such a surprising choice for me, you git? Because I'm gathering it's a kind of not a rom-com, but a romantic drama. And I would never have put you in the same room as a romantic drama. I just wouldn't have done. Your type of film, to me, would be something like, as you've already said, Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, Eddie and the Cruisers, Die Hard, your action movies. I would never ever have put you with a romantic drama. I don't know why, it just didn't seem right. But you're telling me it's a great film, so I'm going to take a look at that one at some point. Sweeney, straight in the bin. Yeah, there's another comment about this one later on. I think Jason talks about this one. I'm kind of on the fence on this one, but I'll come back to that one in a bit. Indy, knew you'd love it. This is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It was absolutely nowhere near as bad as I expected it to be, and I was only going on all the remarks that I've read from critics, which we don't listen to. We never listen to critics because they're miserable sour-faced sods at the best of time. So no, I went into it with a completely open mind. Expectations not too high, but high enough to know that I was going to enjoy it, and it was way better than I thought it would be. And as I said last week, the de-aging process, I did not see anything wrong with it. I found myself looking at it very, very carefully to see what people were on about, saying that it didn't look right. The only thing that was slightly odd, and somebody mentioned this, and I can't remember who it was the fact that they de-aged him perfectly, but the voice was still 82-year-old Indy, or Harrison Ford. That was the only slightly odd thing about it, but for God's sake, I completely overlooked it, never thought anything of it. After about the first couple of minutes of it, never thought nothing of it. But the movie itself, absolutely brilliant. A notch above Crystal Skull, which I also watched a few months ago for the first time in years, and enjoyed it way more than I did the first time. So whether I just watched it on the wrong day or what, I don't know. But I thought the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was actually not bad, and this one was better than that. So yeah, I enjoyed Indy a lot, and I will be watching it again, and I'm so glad that I got it on 4K for Christmas. So thanks for that, Guy. Oh, hang on, there's some more here. I think those comments were from the week before. What happens is I record this sort of 7:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, and any comments that come after have to go on to the next week's. But I just about caught these yesterday, so I thought I'd add them on. This was presumably on last week's video. Great stuff today, mate. Cheers, Guy. Movie violence. Yeah, subject close to my heart. Are we, as people, becoming more desensitized to it as time goes by? Hence why violence levels increase. Maybe you should watch more and build up a tolerance, just like spicy food. I don't want to. I really don't. From the things I read of what are in certain films, I know no matter how many times I watch them, I'm not going to enjoy them. I keep coming back to it, but the scene in Reacher with the guy having his legs broken so he will fit into the trunk of a car. With the sound up, never in a million years. With the sound down and just the visuals, probably not. Um, I think that's basically what it is. I think people have become a lot more desensitized to it, especially the younger people. They don't think anything of stuff like that. They just laugh at it. Um, then again, they laugh at stuff like The Exorcist that we found terrifying 50 years ago, um, and still do now. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try to watch, slightly more violent things and see how I go. But I'm not doing too bad. I got through Rambo 4, um, which I didn't think in a million years I'd ever make it through. Um, so yeah, I'll give that some thought. Jamie Lee Curtis. Have you seen A Fish Called Wanda? I have, long, long time ago. Mainly because John Cleese was in it, and Kevin Kline. I used to love Kevin Kline. I thought he was amazing. Um, but I haven't seen it recently. It's one that I probably could do with watching again. Is this the one with Eric Idle and the goldfish? I seem to remember something about that. But yes, I have seen it, but a long time ago. Ads on Prime. Yeah, we were talking about this last week about the fact that Amazon Prime have introduced a $2.99 surcharge if you want to watch movies without adverts or commercials in them. Um, Completely disagree with it, but I can't stand ads on movies. I hate it. So for me, $2.99. I thought, do you know what? To hell with it. I'll do it. Um, but you put it's boiling my piss already. Is ad free easy to set up? It is. If you put Prime on, at some point something will flash up in front of you. If you want to go ad free, you know, it's only $2.99. Just click on the button to the right of that, and it sends you to the you know, the till where you can pay them, pay the ransom, because that's what it fucking feels like. But yeah, it is easy to set up, guys. I think even if you don't get that ad coming up, if you go into your settings, I'm fairly sure it's simple to set up. Life on Mars. Join in with me, Jason. We fucking told you so. I know you did. You've been telling me for ages. I still haven't watched one since probably 2-3 weeks back, but depending on how long I spend on this, I might grab another episode later on. But I am working my way through it, and I will be going straight on to Ashes, straight after I've done that. I am very, very tempted to go back to the beginning, because the last one I watched, I thought to myself, will Rob like this? Because there's nothing worse than getting sort of 3/4 of the way through a series. He'll walk in, watch what I'm watching, and think and say, "This looks really good. What is it?" And it's like, "Oh God, okay." So I may just mention it to him and see whether he wants to go back to the beginning and watch it, because I'm only 3 episodes in, so that wouldn't be too much of a trial watching the first 3 again. Equalizer next. I've got hold of the first season through certain nefarious means. So I will be taking it in at some point. Again, Guy, it's just finding the time to do all these things and getting things prioritised, which is what I'm into at the moment, is getting everything into some kind of an order, so that I can actually start getting through these things. Idris Elba, Superman, no, because he's too old for the role. I have no problem with the Black Superman, just someone younger than Idris. I don't have a problem with the Black Superman. It's just my thing is he wasn't written that way. Hang on a minute. You're going to correct me here. Oh, and to correct you, there has been a Black Superman in the comics. Trust a geek. I do trust you on that one. So, I mean, if it's been written that way in the comics, so be it. But like you say, he's too old. He's not, you know, even Henry Cavill, I think, is probably too old for it now, isn't he? So, yeah, that's my only reason for it. Is I thought he wasn't written that way. But if you're telling me that he is, then I relent. I relent completely. So, um, what have I got here? Oh, you messaged me basically after we'd met up that day. Brilliant. Oh, you want to change the podcast? Oh God, here we go. Yeah, yeah. I mentioned that might change things up a bit, but nothing serious. And you put, oh, you want to change the podcast? Go live, direct onto YouTube. If you advertise it on the group enough and do it at a sensible time, people will watch. I guarantee. Maybe I don't know. We've done this sort of live thing before. I think we've talked about this, and I've always sort of shied away from it. Maybe at some point now, as I say, things are a little bit different now. Um, I prefer to do this kind of thing early in the morning if I can, because as I demonstrated last week, once you get past 9 o'clock, neighbours on either side start moving about, the dog starts coming up and down. So this is the perfect time to do it for me. At the moment, it's just coming up to 8 o'clock. So this is perfect for me to do something like that. I couldn't do it in an evening, that's for sure. I don't do much of anything in an evening video wise. It would have to be sort of a weekend morning early, or possibly a weekday morning, not necessarily early any time, because they're the only times I've pretty much got this part of the house to myself. So I will consider it, and if I can do it, as you say, at a sensible time when people are going to be around. Obviously, there's no point in doing it at 3 o'clock in the morning because nobody will watch it. But I'll give it some thought, mate. And I know that this is something that you want, and quite a few other people have mentioned it. So I will absolutely give it some thought. So leave that one with me. Steve, our newest member, hi Tone. Just watched your video chat, and again, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Cheers, Steve. Not saying that because it was about me for the first 10 minutes. Of course not. He's talking about me again. Only joking. Made notes this time. A few trivial things to start with. Spicy pizzas are not for me. Can't stomach spicy food. Pepper is my limit. Yeah, I can't stand spicy food. It does absolutely nothing for me, and it really doesn't. I just find it really unpleasant. So, by the way, I've been trimming the comments down a little bit. Some of them are of epic proportions. So I thought if I just trim the bits that aren't specifically movie related, I can reply to those on the Facebook page, and I don't have to read them out on here because I'd be here all morning if I read all these long ones out. But by all means, keep sending them to me because I love reading your comments. Absolutely love it. It's just me giving a little bit more time to the movie related stuff. So I am like you and Jason. Once I'm home from work, I don't want to go anywhere else. I think I said once I'm a part-time recluse, and if I quit my job, I will be a full-time recluse. Just how I am, Steve, is how I've been for many, many years. Once I'm through that door, that's it. I'm done for the day. Let's see. Trading Places. I am sure you will enjoy. I love it, me. I have seen it countless times and it just cheers me up. I've got to take this movie in because people are pulling me up right, left, and centre on this one. So, yeah, that is on its way. The Mist and its ending. The one thing I had a problem with was why didn't he shoot his son head to head with Laurie Holden so that one bullet would have killed them both? Then he would have had a bullet for himself. It didn't matter. He probably killed himself later anyway. What a horrible film that was. I mean, it spent the first 90 minutes just being a standard Stephen King adaptation of a horror book, and it ended as this complete and utter shocking downer. I'm not sure it's one I want to put myself through again, but we'll see. In the book Misery, I know the sheriff, played by Richard Farnsworth in the film, gets his head run over by a car, which doesn't happen in the film. Thank fuck for that. Misery I love. I think Kathy Bates and James Caan are just brilliant. A1, top of the game. It's just that hobbling scene, and it comes back to that question I was asking the other week about which scene would I cut out of a movie. to make it more watchable. And I think you mentioned that one, Steve, last week. That would have been yours, and it was a good choice. Absolutely. Um, I have to mention the Netflix series Fool Me Once. I really, really enjoyed that. It was partly filmed in my town, in my town, Bury. The arcade club is literally about 5 minutes walk from my house. Claim to fame. We've never had anything filmed in Burton, as far as I know. A mention about Chaplin. I once saw a version of The Gold Rush narrated by Chaplin himself, and I thought that was the original version. How could this be a silent movie with him talking all the way through it? It certainly made it funnier. I don't know of this version. I'm going to see if I can track it down. Presumably, it's some kind of a commentary, is it, over the actual movie? So this is, especially with the Chaplin journey I'm on at the moment, this is something that I'll be very interested in finding. So leave that with me. I'm going to put my detective hat on and see if I can find that. Um, I've never been able to find that version since Have You Seen It? I haven't. I haven't. I've not even seen The Gold Rush, to be honest. This is why I'm working my way through his movies, and I've got a while to go before I get to The Gold Rush because I'm only on his second ever movie, which I think is called Kid Auto Races in Venice, which I've been recommended as one of his better ones. It's the first one um, where he introduces himself as the tramp in the costume that basically made him famous. So I'm looking forward to watching that. I may try and give that a go this morning, actually, once I've finished this, as well as Life on Mars guy, I haven't forgotten. And finally, to wrap up, Idris Elba as Superman. Now, you're not racist for saying so. Nick Fury was originally white in the comics, I believe, and Lawrence Fishburne played Perry White in the Henry Cavill films, so it does work sometimes, but a black Superman is stretching it a bit. We already have Black Panther and Tanned Adam. Tanned Adam? Frankly, Dwayne Johnson isn't that black, and you say you prattle on, I'm going now. That was the end of that. I'm glad people are agreeing with me. It's not a racist thing. It's just it wasn't written that way. But we've already covered this. So yeah, I'm glad you agree with me on that one, Steve. Um, now then, and you put basically Steve messaged me on Messenger rather than putting it on the Facebook page, and I was scrolling up. And I don't know whether your screens are as sensitive as mine, but sometimes I'll scroll up and hit one of the emojis, and I accidentally hit a frown. And he sent me a message. Did you just react with a frown briefly? Oh no, I have ruffled feathers. You didn't, mate. The only thing that was ruffled was my phone because, like I say, I do this and hit an emoji, and as soon as I'd done it, I realised I thought, oh for fuck's sake, he'll think I didn't like something he said. So no, it wasn't that, mate. It's my phone. It's oversensitive, and I've got to go into the settings at some point and try to alter that. So right, I'm coming up to 28 minutes. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back with you in a few seconds. And we're back. Right, where were we? Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, morning, mate. I am sure I've given you a shout out, but once I get around to finally watching Witchfinder General, there will be another one. I can't wait to see what you make of Witchfinder General. I still find parts of it genuinely shocking now, especially the final scene. Um, so yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to hearing what you think of that. Maybe a season of folk horror would be on the cards at some point, including The Wicker Man and Blood on Satan's Claw. There are quite a few, and there is a documentary that I'm watching at the moment on Prime. It's over 3 hours, but I tell you what, I'm about 45 minutes into it, and I'm absolutely hooked. I can't remember the title of it. I think it's called something like Woodlands and Dark Days. It's basically a history of folk horror in the movies, and it is fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So yeah, maybe a folk horror season after you've done your what are you doing at the moment? Resident Evil. Um, these are movies that I've never seen. They're based on computer games, and everybody pretty much knows how I feel about movies based on computer games. I don't normally bother with them. But I will be listening to your reviews on them. Maybe you could turn me on to them. I don't know. We shall see. Violence in movies. My partner is the same. Can't stand it, and even she has stated that it's gotten worse as we get older. Me, I love it. Give me that good old ultra violence. Oh, Clockwork Orange. No, I think your partner's right. It has. definitely gotten worse over the years. And whenever I put a movie on that's got a reputation for being a bit violent, I fear for what I'm going to see nowadays. I really do, because it's like nothing is off the table anymore. They will show pretty much anything. And what it's going to be like in another 10 years, I shudder to think. Um, but no, it is an age thing, I'm sure it is. We could all watch it, 20, 30 years ago, we never had an issue with it, but it has definitely got more graphic and more horrible. So I get where she's coming from with that. I actually just got off a watch along where the Psycho remake was mentioned and how reviled it is as a remake, including Vince Vaughn's performance. That's probably one we're going to disagree on, Jace. I quite enjoyed it. I do remember reading about the fact that it was being made, um, and that it was going to be a shot by shot remake, virtually identical to the original. And the first thing I thought was, well, what on earth is the point in that? Apart from the fact there's going to be more nudity, more violence, I don't see the point of it. And I gave it a watch just to basically say that I'd seen it, and I quite enjoyed it for what it was. I'm not sure I'd watch it again, because if I want to watch Psycho, I will always go back to the Hitchcock original. Always, always. But there may come a time when I take another look at it. I did used to have it on DVD many, many years ago. I don't think I've got it anymore, and I'm fairly sure that I would not invest in another copy, knowing full well that I'll probably watch it once, and it'll go off to the RSPCA shop. So, but yeah, it didn't have a very good reputation, and I don't think that reputation has improved over the years. Whereas a lot of movies, they start off, as you say, being reviled and hated and this, that, and the other, but very, very slowly they gain a cult following. So yeah, but I don't think this one has done that somehow. Lockdown, yeah, it was a bad time on it. I do enjoy going out, usually drinking with mates, going to the movies, etc. But I really dislike the general public. So do I. I fucking hate them half the time. I just can't be doing with people. Absolutely can't be doing with people. If I don't know them, usually I don't want to know them. And it shows itself mostly at work. If ever they put somebody with me, and it doesn't happen very often, because usually I will insist that I can work perfectly well on my own. But if they insist on putting somebody with me, it's like, no, please don't, because I might have to have a conversation with them, and I don't really want that. So that sounds awful, doesn't it? During the lockdown over here, which wasn't as bad as a lot of other areas, we got off pretty lightly. I was not able to work from home and had to work from the office, and it was surreal seeing the city empty, post-apocalyptic almost. I can imagine. I remember we got letters of authority given to us, so that if we were stopped on our way to work, we could show this letter to the police or whoever stopped us, and it was basically just, an authorization that we could be out on the street going to work. It was a horrible time. I'll never ever want to go through anything like that again. It was just awful. Security guards on supermarket doors. Since when? Oh, it was just awful, and it absolutely brought out the worst in people. I kept hearing all these reports about, all these acts of kindness. It really is bringing the best out in people. No, it fucking well didn't. It brought out the absolute worst in people, especially in supermarkets, stripping the shelves and hoarding food. It was just disgusting. So no, not something I ever want to go through again. Pizza, meat lovers, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken. I'd agree with all three of those. I don't know what a meat lovers one is. I believe Guy mentioned that one to me the other week and said you want to try that one. So yeah, I'd probably go for all three of those. Superman has been a black man, but that was a different dimension or something, and technically was not what Kal-El Ka1E1. You got me on that one, Jace. And of course there was Steel, which is pretty much Iron Man as Steel. So it can be done. Great vid, and sorry for the super long comment. I just type away as I listen. You make them as long as you like, Jace. I love reading them, especially when they don't make any sense at all, like that last bit. What's Ka1E1 or Kal-El? You can probably tell me that. No, you keep commenting, mate. I love reading these things. Right, who's next? Dave Taylor, my old cohort, Dave Taylor. You can't beat Tony Time, a weekly event, mostly. Mostly? You asked about Mel Gibson movies. Not seen any of his after 2002. I've not seen that many before. There are only a handful I would perhaps recommend, as we are never sure what you've seen. Join the club. Braveheart, seen it, really enjoyed it. Conspiracy Theory, heard good things, but never watched it. The Bounty, one of my favourites. I've not seen it for many years, but him and Anthony Hopkins just bounced off each other brilliantly. They were absolutely superb in that. Chicken Run, that was a voice part. Not seen it. The Year of Living Dangerously. I get the feeling I saw this a long, long time ago, but it is one that I wouldn't mind taking a look at. So he plays a reporter, doesn't he, in a war-torn country. I get the feeling I'd probably quite enjoy that one, so I'll be seeking that one out. Wrote down a couple of points about last week's offering. Idris Elba as Superman. God, this one ain't going to die, is it? Knew exactly what you would say, as I would say the same, and no, I don't think it's racist. As you say, flip it, and you see how stupid it is. How about a reboot of the A-Team with a white guy playing B.A. Baracus? Well, this is basically what I was saying. That if they did, say, a movie biopic of Carl Weathers and got somebody like Ryan Reynolds to play him, can you imagine the uproar? So yeah, you flip it and it just sounds absolutely ridiculous. You mentioned a movie I want to see now, Action Jackson, a great title for a movie, never seen it. I remember it coming into the vid shop. It had a white cover. It was on, if I remember right, it was Guild Home Video. I'll have a look later on. And it's one that never appealed to me. It looked like, or the sleeve or the cover looked like a James Bond movie. And I thought, no, I'm not going to touch that with a barge pole. But of late, probably the last sort of year or two, it keeps cropping up on podcasts and on blogs and stuff like that, and I've become more and more interested in taking a look at it, so I will have a look at it. I mean, it's Carl Weathers, so it's going to be at least watchable. So whether it's going to be one of these kind of blaxploitation movies updated, this would have been about 1987, and I do love the blaxploitation movies, as you know. Coffee with Pam Grier, what a movie. Shaft, obviously, Richard Roundtree, brilliant. So yeah, I will be taking a look at that, and if anything, I'm glad I've made you aware of it. So, Jason P, morning Jay, great vid, mate. Thanks, Jay. The Sweeney. This is the reboot that I watched the other week. You say you may or may not watch it again, but if you do, you'll find it somewhere on a streaming platform. But, in capital letters, but you may not. It may be cut. You have a physical copy, keep it. I'm on the fence with this one. There's a very good chance it's still behind me on this table, with a few other bits and pieces that are going to the RSPCA sometime next week. I may rescue it, I don't know, I shall see. Rambo, Last Blood, you've seen it. It's the one where his niece is murdered. This is the one that I have seen, where they lure the cartel back to his ranch, and they're all going into tunnels with traps all over the place. If that's the one, then yes, I have seen it, and it was good, apart from the beating scene, which I didn't care for much. Shane Meadows didn't film any in Swad. I got that one wrong. He normally films in Nottingham area. Dead Man's Shoes was mainly in Matlock. Didn't know that. Romeo Brass was Nottingham and Chapel St Leonard's. I think he's filmed a few scenes in Utoxeter, but to my knowledge, never in Swad. The film you want that is filmed entirely in Swad is Pincushion. That's the one. I remember the title. As soon as I read that, I thought that's the one. So I'm going to be seeking that one out just to have a look. I mean, I've been to Swad a couple of times, but not much. So I probably wouldn't recognise any of the areas anyway. But it's just that thing. Whereas if something's been filmed sort of 3-4 miles away, I wouldn't mind a look at it. So I'll be looking for a copy of Pincushion and taking a look. Life on Mars. I don't need to say we told you so. No, you don't. Yet again, you've been proved right. I'm loving it, but as I say, I may be going back to the beginning because I get the feeling Rob will quite like it. We're in the middle of, at the moment, Line of Duty. My God, that was a good call. We're 2 seasons in, and we're just giving it a rest before we move on to season 3. But I had no idea he had that much of a love of police dramas. He normally shies away from them. So I will mention Life on Mars, and I think the nostalgia angle might just swing it. But we'll see with that one. I may be proceeding with that one on my own yet. We'll see how we go. I only bought Out of Africa on DVD, £2.27. You can't fault it, can you? As it was £5 more on Blu-ray. It's only because I may or may not watch it again, but for a few quid, I'd rather have some copy than none at all. I mean, I'm desperately, as you know, trying to thin mine out, which is why Bin It or Keep It has come back with a vengeance. So if anything, I'm trying to cut down on the Blu-rays and the DVDs, but every now and then I will spot one, and I think, oh my God, I've got to have that. So it's not working particularly well so far, but we shall see how we go with it. Where are we? Idris as Superman. Someone smoking something they shouldn't. I'm glad somebody agrees with me. Well, you all agree with me on this one. Yeah, it just wouldn't work. Well, not for me, it wouldn't work. Personally, it wouldn't work for me, and it doesn't sound like it will work for many of you either. I reckon I rented Action Jackson from you. You may well have done. Probably shouldn't have done, because I'm sure it was an 18 at the time. But I think I wasn't paying much attention to the rules with stuff like that. The business wasn't exactly brilliant, so I was letting stuff go out right, left, and centre that I shouldn't have been renting. So if I did rent Action Jackson to you and you were under 18, my sincerest apologies. The way you've turned out is obviously down to me. Also, Hurricane Smith was in the same vein as that one. I've never heard of this. I thought he was a snooker player. Hurricane Smith. Thinking of something else on that, but I'm definitely going to be looking that one up. If it's in the same sort of wheelhouse as Action Jackson. Antisocial. Yeah, we were talking about this. I have okay social skills. As you know, I saw thousands of people whilst doing security, and once I get talking about something I'm interested in, I can't stop. It's the parties I can't be doing with. I don't drink or dance, but I do love a good buffet. I can't even be bothered with the buffets. Parties are an absolute nightmare for me. I probably wouldn't go to any. It would have to be something really, really important for me to agree to go to something like that. It's just that thought of being stuck in a room and having to talk to people that you don't know, half of whom you don't even like. Even though you've never met them, you still don't like them. It's just not my thing anymore, and it certainly isn't yours. And you put, where was I? Oh yeah, antisocial. I try to get out of things as much as I can. I always do. If anybody asks me, I used to feel bad about it. If somebody would ask me out somewhere or to do something, I would normally say, oh, yeah, I'll think that, yeah, or I'd agree to it. Now, I'm just plain blunt, I'd rather not, mate. Thanks for asking and all that, but it's just not me anymore. I just don't go out now. So I'm finding it increasingly easier to do that. I love nothing more than to lock that door, PJs on, sit in front of the TV so you're not the only one. I really, really appreciate that. I'm meeting a lot more people as well. There's a couple of people at work who are exactly the same. As you said the other week, we did it all when we were younger, all this going out, capering, doing things and conversing with people, and that we did it all years ago. I don't feel the need to do it anymore. So, as I say, it would have to be something really, really important to get me outside that door once I'm in after a day at work. So, keep up the good work, mate. I most certainly will try for you, Jace. Appreciate that, mate. Chris, morning, Chris, and morning, Penny, if she's watching it with you. Other Mel Gibson movies you need to see if you haven't already. Ransom. Is this the one where his little son gets kidnapped? If it is, I've probably seen it. Payback. No. Tequila Sunrise. Is this something with Kurt Russell? Ringing a Distant Bell. Maverick. Never seen it, but always wanted to because James Garner's in it, and I love James Garner. We Were Soldiers. That one's been recommended to me. The Patriot. Talking about this one just a couple of days ago with a lad at work. He was on about Mel Gibson movies for some reason, I don't know why, and he recommended The Patriot to me. I think he's doing some kind of a history course at uni, and I believe The Patriot came up as a movie that's not um, exactly historically accurate, let's say. But he said he really enjoyed it. So that's another one. Signs. Been meaning to watch this for ages. I get the feeling I have seen it, but I can't remember. So I do need to take another look at that one. Get the Gringo. I've never even heard of that one. How I Spent My Summer Vacation, otherwise known as, well, Bloodfather. Got me on that one. Fat Man. This is the Christmas movie, but also a great action movie. Edge of Darkness. This, I believe, was a TV series with Bob Peck in the 80s, and I believe they remade it, and that's probably one reason why I didn't watch it. But if you're recommending it, I'll give it a go. Others are good too, but these are great. Passion and Apocalypto are amazing movies. I could watch them over and over. Oh my god. I'm struggling to work up the enthusiasm to watch Passion of the Christ. Well, not enthusiasm. I'm very enthusiastic to watch it. I think I need to dig this one out and just throw myself into it and to hell with it. I'm not looking forward to the sequence where they have to dislocate his shoulders to fit him onto the cross. But apparently that's the least of my worries from what I've heard. It gets a lot worse than that. But I think this is one that I'm going to have to throw myself into. And even though I've got a choice of two versions, I've got a choice of an uncut version, and also on the same Blu-ray I've got a sort of a sanitized version with the grislier violence trimmed out. Uh, for someone that is continually talking about censorship and not approving of it, I really shouldn't be watching the sanitized version. So if I'm going to watch it, it will be the uncut, and I will dig it out and I'll give it a go. Apocalypto I could probably watch. I don't think I'd have much of a problem with that one. I couldn't watch it with Rob because I believe it's got animal killings in it, and he won't watch anything like that. So that one is definitely just for me. But I will give them a go. I promise I'll dig them out, put them by the TV, and see how far I get with them. Hacksaw Ridge, an incredible true story about Desmond Doss, a conscientious objector who wouldn't pick up a gun during World War II and saved over 70 people from the battlefield. This is one I've heard very, very good things about. A lot of people at work have told me about this one and said you really need to watch that. So Hacksaw Ridge, I believe I've got a copy of it upstairs. I'm sure I have. I'll dig it out and have a look at that one. This year is the first year I've considered cancelling my Prime subscription. Trying to save money, and £95 for free next day delivery is steep. I don't watch many Prime movies, but definitely won't with the adverts. I didn't approve of it. For the sake of £2.99, I thought, yeah, but I tell you what, if they start sort of heaping the charges on for this, that, and the other, I am going to abandon it because I don't watch it that much like you, but it's just handy to have it there. Chuck Norris movies. I haven't seen many of his at all, but the two that stand out from my childhood, you're watching Chuck Norris movies as a kid. Lone Wolf McQuade and An Eye for an Eye. The latter I remember being really enjoying it as a kid. Yeah, Lone Wolf McQuade, a mate of mine, was a great fan of that movie. He was always talking about it, and he did say to me quite a few times, if you're ever going to watch a Chuck Norris movie, watch Lone Wolf McQuade. So I'm going to dig that one out and have a look. I keep saying this, don't I? But now I have actually got more time to watch movies. You hopefully will not hear that too often from now on. Jason, you commented, Mel Gibson, Man Without a Face is also very good. I remember this one, not seen it, but I do remember it. Isn't he disfigured? And he forms some kind of a relationship with this kid that visits him. So yeah, that's one that I would give a go. And then you came back a little bit later with some more comments. I think you were running short of time. No, part two of the comments as I pressed enter too soon. I've done that before. I enjoyed The Amazing Spider-Man, but I was a little disappointed of yet another origin story. Andrew Garfield did a good job in the Peter Parker role. I quite liked him. I didn't think I could take to him after enjoying the Tobey Maguire trilogy as much as I did. But he's actually okay. I think he did a decent job. Indy was a hit in my book because it drew a lot of influence from the original trilogy. I will be getting the Steelbook when it drops a little in price, just to go with the others. Loved it, absolutely adored it. As I said earlier, it was way better than I thought it would be. So yeah, I totally get that. I will do a little vid of the videos that have made the unit. I will do a little vid of the videos that have made the unit. Oh, this is that box full of videos that you got from Lorraine. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what they are, Chris, definitely. Let's see. There are a few that will have to wait for a bigger room, and there are some that if anyone else wants, I shall pass on to a better home. My top 5 VHS that I have in my possession will also be posted. That one I'm looking forward to. I love seeing people's top 5s. I've got a couple myself that I want to do later on if I sort of got time. Saltburn review. Oh, you struggled. Yep, the struggle was as tough as the watch, and I have since been looking at the little mound of soil in the back garden differently. I may have to go flatten it with a spade before I next get drunk. That's an image I wanted, Chris. Thanks for that. I shall be starting the Taschen book soon. I think 101 movies first, and we'll be watching ones that I haven't seen. I think I'll try watching them as soon as I read the pages. Number 1 is 3 bloody hours long, so best be a good one. Lost me completely with that one. Maybe it's the way I'm reading it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what movies you're going to pick from these books, especially the horror movies one, definitely. I started mine yesterday, which I'll be coming back onto in a bit. I definitely will look forward to your 1001 movie journey, albeit not 1001. Oh yeah, because I was saying that a lot of them I will have seen, and I'm fairly certain that there will be some in that book that I will think, I'm not watching that, no way. I think the Human Centipede is in there. No, I won't be watching Human Centipede. That's no, just no. I too think Jason will come up with a fantastic thread once something is mentioned. All have been great so far, so I have faith. There you go, Jace. We're all behind you, mate. The Champ, wow, can still bring me to tears to this day. Purposely haven't watched it for years for this very reason. Welling up thinking about it. Thank you for the vid, sir. Here's to the next. Thanks, Chris. Much appreciated. Jason, you commented, and for those that have not seen The Champ, don't watch the last 10 minutes of this video because Tony tells you what happened at the end. Bloody old Jace, it's about 45 years old. If you've not seen it now, then spoilers won't have anything to do with that. Right, I am going to take another very quick break, and I'm going to come back with a slight breakdown of a movie called Brawl in Cell Block 99, which is something I was going to do last week. Directed by, here we go, S. Craig Zahler, who also directed, and I didn't realise this, Bone Tomahawk and Dragged Across Concrete, which I bought a few weeks ago on Chris's recommendation as a Mel Gibson movie that I needed to watch. But I'm beginning to regret it now. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes with that. And we're back. Right, Brawl in Cell Block 99. This is a movie that I heard about probably a few weeks ago. A couple of guys were talking about it on a podcast, basically saying how brilliant it was, but also how brutal and violent it was. I'm always a little bit curious to know what it is that people find sort of overly brutal or violent. You pretty much know what it is in my case, but I'm thinking of making this a regular feature actually, because I shouldn't do, I know, but I love reading the parents' guides on movies just to basically see what they consider to be nasty or violent or whatever. So maybe I'll pick a movie a week and just have a look at what they reckon to it. But Brawl in Cell Block 99, oh my God. Before I go any further, I will pretty much say this will never ever see the light of day in this house, that is for sure. So if I just read out what I've got here: sex and nudity, mild. What we got is a man undresses and is seen naked from behind. Fair enough. Poster of a woman in a bikini in a suggestive pose is shown throughout a scene. Fair enough. Well, it's probably not fair enough actually, because it's extremely sexist and degrading to women. But there you go. A prostitute offers her services in exchange for drugs. She claims she will make both his nuts smile. It's not offensive, that's just funny. A young woman is shown answering the door in a very revealing outfit. It's not sounding too objectionable so far. An affair is briefly mentioned but never shown. Okay, right, violence and gore. Here we go, this is the meat of it. Severe. As soon as I see the word severe, I think, oh god. Here we go. A gunfight takes place in which people get shot with some blood detail. Okay, cope with that. A man fights a prison officer and breaks his arm backwards. Bone is visibly sticking out. Very graphic. Fuck that. That's a definite no from me. A couple of fights take place in prison where men get beaten up and dislocate their arms and legs. What possible pleasure could you get from watching that? I don't see it. A man stomps another man's face to the ground and grinds his face with his foot against the floor, which results in the man's face being ripped off. Very graphic. Are you beginning to get the idea of why I will never watch this? A man brutally kicks another man's head in repeatedly against the sharp edges of a hole to the point where he decapitates him by kicking his head off. Oh. Okay. A man is shot in the face in graphic detail. Okay. A man is systematically tortured with a remote controlled belt which administers electric shocks. I could probably just about cope with that. The film contains realistic and extremely graphic violence in the later half of the film, which can disturb and upset some viewers. Do you think? It says here, like S. Craig Zala's other film, Bone Tomahawk, the entire film has a grim atmosphere and brutal imagery, not for the faint of heart. Yeah, getting that idea. The UK release was cut. The distributor chose to reduce or remove moments of stronger sadistic violence and injury detail in order to obtain a 15 certificate. An uncut 18 classification was available. I don't give a fuck what the certificate is. Reading that, never in a million years would that see the light of day. Here, here, that's for sure. It just wouldn't happen. And that is why I will never watch a movie called Brawl in Cell Block 99. Now, if any of you lot have seen it and watched it, don't bother trying to tell me, oh, it's not that bad. It's there in black and white. It is that bad. So if I think on, I'll pick another movie next week. One that I probably, would be interested in, and I'll take a look at the Parents' Guide. I'll make it a regular feature because you lot seem to enjoy me talking about it. So that's Brawl in Cell Block 99. Okay, Jason Kerr, our Ginger Ninja. Oh my God, you put a really comical post on last week, which I absolutely did not understand, but it made me smile, and it still makes me smile now. It read, monkeys would make better pets if they were part robot and had rocket launchers. And I asked you what the hell it meant. And you put 14 years ago, I thought having cybernetic monkeys as pets would be awesome. I still do. I may have also had a few drinks at the time. No. Not sure why rocket launchers were needed, but I'm sure there are advantages. So we should all have pet monkeys, complete with rocket launchers. How can that not make you smile? Oh God, thanks for that, Jace. That really made me laugh. Jason P. You'll never seen it thread. Loving it. Mean Streets. Cracking movie. I haven't seen it for many years. I do remember the opening scene. To the tune of Be My Baby by the Ronettes or Rondels or whatever they're called. But I do remember Mean Streets being a cracking movie. I do need to watch it again because I haven't seen it for a long, long time. Sleepless in Seattle. Never in a million years would I have thought you'd have watched something like that. But you said you quite enjoyed it. So, yeah, I love Sleepless in Seattle, mostly for the soundtrack. I just thought it was glorious. And obviously, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan were just perfect together. They really were. It was just a lovely, nice, cosy film with some amazing sort of 1930s, 1940s songs in there. Superb. Um, let's see. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what next week's is. Uh, a quick review for you, kind of. Rubber finally got round to watching it. This is the Killer Tire movie. I thought, you know what, I'll have a go at this. Mark says, but you've seen it already. I'm sure you said you'd seen it when I did the review on it. Robert is a fucking legend. Robert is the name of this tyre. I have no idea how he got the name Robert, but his name is Robert. I thought it was very, very entertaining. Well, for the first 5 minutes or so, I basically wondered what the hell was going on. But I kind of got the idea of it. It's just, the movie is just as daft as a brush. It's as silly as it could possibly get, but it's really, really entertaining. I just thought it was great. Would I watch it again? Absolutely, I think so. I'm not going to wipe it off the hard drive, that's for sure. But it is basically what it says in the tin. It is a killer tire with telekinetic powers, so it can make people's heads explode just by. It's funny because it stands there on the sand and it's just shivering until somebody's head explodes. I just thought it was really, really good fun. Completely suspend disbelief when you watch it, but I just thought it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it as much as I thought I would. I did have kind of reservations going in. I thought, you know, is this thing going to backfire on me? But it didn't. I thought it was amazing. Best film I've ever seen? No, of course it wasn't. But I thought it was all right. And would I watch it again? Yeah, definitely. So yeah, Robert is a fucking legend. You're absolutely right. And talking of daft movies, there was a post on Instagram about Killer Sofa, not Instagram, Letterboxd. You know how much I love Killer Sofa. I just think it's an amazing film. And this random guy said, yes, I gave this film a higher rate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zen. Yes, I gave this film a higher rating than I gave Michael Mann's The Insider and Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Wow. I'd also rated above The Power of the Dog. Wow. But as strong as all these movies are, there are moments where my attention wandered a bit. That did not happen with Killer Sofa. There was not a single moment where I wasn't A, entertained, and B, extremely happy that there are still people in the world making films like this. So there you go, Bernie Rao, another glowing recommendation. It's just, again, like Robert, it's just a really entertaining nonsense movie. But Killer Sofa is really, really well done. It just is. I challenge anybody to watch it and then let me know what you think of it. I thought it was amazing, and I would definitely watch that one again. Let's see. Where are we now? Bin it or keep it. Just bear with me if I just fish this out. Oh, there we go. Bin it or keep it. Planet of the Apes, the 2001 reboot, starring Mark Wahlberg. I'll read these comments out first. Let's see. Callie. Morning, Callie. Don't. Just don't. Let me save you 2 hours of your life, hon. It's shit. The end. There. You can thank me later. I'll come back to that. Thanks for that, Callie. Mark. Dunno. Never seen it. Fair enough. Jason P. This is loads better than the 1969 version. The effects, acting, everything just makes it better. It isn't really. I can just imagine Guy reading this and thinking, what the fuck? Yeah, I get that. Guy, chuck it straight in the bin, then chuck it straight in the bin, then set the bin on fire. Rick, douse it in petrol and set a light to it. Bloody hell. Jason K. This was on Instagram. I've said this recently. It's not a great movie, but it's just a fun movie. And then there was some random Instagram comments about it. It's not as bad as its reputation. Just understand that it doesn't belong in the same franchise as the rest. But as a standalone, it has some entertainment value. And somebody put, think I'm going to add it to the list. um, my thoughts on it. Do you know what? It should have worked. Mark Wahlberg, Helena Bonham Carter, Tim Roth. The stars were there. Tim Burton directing it, director of Edward Scissorhands and Sleepy Hollow and all that sort of thing. I thought he was going to bring a sort of an original spin to it. I have seen it before, but a long, long time ago, and I absolutely loathed it. But I thought, let's give it another go because I did the same with Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I came back to that one years after and thoroughly enjoyed it. It just didn't work. Within 15 minutes, I was checking my phone and scrolling through Instagram and all this sort of thing, and that's always a bad sign, especially when it's only 15 or 20 minutes in. There was nothing wrong with the special effects. There was nothing wrong with the story, really. It personally just did not work for me. And as I say, the stars were there. It should have done. Director Tim Burton, nothing wrong with that. It just, who else was in it? Oh, I can't see anybody else on it. I mean, I've got the 2 disc special edition here. I don't know what's on disc 2, but I'm not particularly bothered. So I'm afraid it's definitely a bin it. With it being not, well, somebody said there that it's not part of the original franchise. I can understand it being more bearable as a standalone movie, but again, even under those circumstances, it still didn't work for me. It's not a bad film. As I say, the story is okay, special effects are fine, nothing wrong with that. It just personally did not work for me. And whether this was sort of on the back of watching the original 5 movies, which I adored, and I'm also looking forward to watching the TV series which came next from 1974. I would pretty much go out on a limb and say I would rather watch a couple of episodes of the TV series than watch that one again. As I say, not a bad movie, just not for me. So I'm afraid Bin It or Keep It this week is a definite bin it. Right, what have I got here? Chris, enjoying your Hughes Marvellous Sundays, Iron Man 3. This is the one I've not seen yet. I've not got as far as that one yet. But again, the visuals look absolutely stunning, so I will be taking that in when I recommence my Marvel journey at some point very, very soon. I just want to get through the Spider-Man movies. I've got the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and also the Tom Holland trilogy to watch. Possibly the Spider-Verse ones. Are they actually part of, are they canon, as Guy would say? I don't know. If they are, I'll need to grab copies of those as well. I think there's Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. And then when I've done with those, I'll go back to Thor and recommence and sort of pick it up where I left off. So, right, a couple of bits of news here that I've got meant to tell you. Ridley Scott, I read this last week, is to direct a Bee Gees biopic, and he's got Barry Gibb, who is the last surviving member of the group, as executive producer. And they've also got access to all the Bee Gees music due to a deal that they made a few years ago. I can't wait. I'm really, really looking forward to this. I mean, it's not even started production yet. They've not cast it or anything, but this is just news for the future. I am absolutely well up for this one. I love the Bee Gees. I loved Saturday Night Fever, which was a huge part of the Bee Gees' career. So yeah, I am well up for that one. And Ridley Scott directing it, how could it possibly go wrong? So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. And the other thing is the $6 Million Man. Now this has been kicking around for quite a while, and I didn't realise it. I only bumped into it by accident surfing a few nights ago. The $6 Million Man, a series we all love from the 70s. I've seen, well, I think I saw most of them back in the day. I've not been watching them on Legend just recently, but I would like to watch it again, definitely. But apparently there has been a reboot in the pipeline for quite a few years to be called the $6 billion Man. They've had Mark Wahlberg attached to this for quite a while, but it's been in development hell. I think the actual rumor is like 10 years old. I think that's when it first came out, and Wahlberg has been pushing to get this thing made because he's a huge fan of the TV series. I'd be up for it. I just can't see it resembling anything close to the original series. And as we know, a lot of these sort of movie adaptations of sort of 60s, 70s, 80s TV series, they hardly ever work. The only ones I've really enjoyed, or the only ones I've really seen as such, is the Charlie's Angels remake with Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, and Drew Barrymore, which I thought was great fun. And also the Starsky and Hutch reboot with Ben, what's his name? Can't remember. Owen Wilson and the other geezer. Can't remember. But I really enjoyed that one. I thought that was great because they didn't take themselves too seriously. And they weren't like extended editions of the TV series, like extended episodes. But what they're going to do with this one, I don't know. I'd probably take a look at it, but I just can't see it being anything like the TV series. And that could be my question for this week, actually. Are there any TV series out there that you would like to see adapted into a big screen movie? I had to think about this. I've been thinking about it all week, and the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Happy Days. Now, in a way, it's already been done because we had the Lemon Popsicle movies, we had American Graffiti, but I would love to see a movie version of Happy Days. Who would play the Fonz? I have no clue, no idea. I'd need to think about that one. But have you lot got any suggestions? Any TV series that you would like to see adapted into movies? Because I tell you what, I get the feeling there's going to be quite a few on the way over the next few years. But yeah, drop them in the comments or whatever. I'd be curious to see what you make of that. Beast in the Cellar. This is a 1971 movie starring Beryl Reid and Flora Robson, and also Tessa Wyatt, who was Robin O'Sullivan's wife in Robin's Nest, stars in this one. As I say, 1971 horror movie. My enduring memory of the first time I sort of bumped into this movie was being at the cinema. I believe it was when we went to see Live and Let Die. My mum took us to see Live and Let Die, so I'd have been about 11. Is seeing the trailer to Beast in the Cellar, and what they used to do was, I don't know whether they still do this now. They used to show a U trailer, as in a fit for all trailer, advertising an X certificate film. And I just remember the sequence more than anything of the two old ladies stood at the top of the cellar, and basically at the top of the stairs, basically saying, "It can see us in the dark." And for some reason, it scared the life out of me. So I couldn't wait to watch this movie. It's become one of my favourites over the years, and it's finally getting a Blu-ray release. I couldn't be happier, because it will fit very nicely in with Witchfinder General, Blood on Satan's Claw, and The Wicker Man, as classics of late 60s, early 70s horror. I can't wait. It's one of those movies that was on Talking Pictures TV quite a while back, and I recorded it, and if ever I'm on my own, I will always watch it. There's just something about that movie I absolutely adore. It's not particularly good. It's not exactly what you would class as frightening. It's just a really entertaining movie, to me anyway. Dave Taylor, you put, I remember this one. Yes, that's one you've obviously seen, Jason P. I've seen this back in the early 80s, only because Beryl Reid is in it. Remember we was talking about this, Tony, and I thought the film was Werewolf in Washington, but it has to be this one. And Tessa Wyatt as a nurse, I fancied her. I was only about 8 or 9 when I was watching her in Robin's Nest. I started early with the ladies. Oh God. So yeah, I've defo seen this. There's a scene with a dead body in a shopping trolley too, I think. I don't remember that. I think that might be Werewolf in Washington. Um, but I gather you've definitely seen this, and you've not said that it's shite, so I'm assuming that you think it's okay. But I can't wait to get this on Blu-ray. I really can't. It'll be nice to own a pristine high def print of a movie that I've loved for years. So yeah, that's coming out. I think it's March or April. So I will be putting a pre-order in for that one. And another one, Caligula, the Ultimate Cut. It's released in cinemas in March and hopefully on 4K soon after with a bit of luck. I've been looking at an Italian 4K. I love this movie, absolutely love it. It's been kicking around for years. I saw it at Burton Odeon, it would have been about 1980, 1981 when it was first released. And it was fairly graphic stuff for its day. And then they released an uncut version on DVD a few years later, which I grabbed. And this is the one with all the hardcore scenes in it. The one that all the stars, you got like Helen Mirren, John Gielgud, Peter O'Toole, they were all complaining that these hardcore scenes were inserted after production had finished and they knew nothing about it and they were not happy at all. So I loved it. I thought it was an amazing movie. And then it was announced last year that they will be screening what they would class as the ultimate cut. And I don't know much about it. I need to find out more about it, and I'll tell you more next week. But I believe, from what I've heard, it's got a contemporary music soundtrack with a couple of Scar tracks in there. How the hell can that possibly work? I mean, I'll grab a copy of it because I'm a bit of a completist, and I've got the uncut version, the Arrow version, upstairs somewhere. So I need to get a hold of this. But I've been looking at an Italian 4K release. Now, Steve Mack, our Criterion guy, I think you watched an Italian 4K of Killers of the Flower Moon, which I would love to have got hold of. But I'm just really tempted. If it's being released in cinemas in March, at some point this year there will be a UK release. So maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit by wanting this Italian version, because obviously all the menus and stuff will be in Italian and all that sort of thing. But I definitely want a copy of this, without a doubt. I will definitely be grabbing that. And the other one I read about was Halloween 2 is being released by Viavision on 4K. I would love a copy of this. Jason, our Ginger Ninja, commented, pretty sure Viavision shipped to the UK. They're also doing Halloween 3. Now that's an exciting prospect, because I said I'd hoped for a UK release. I didn't realise Viavision were Australian. I mean, I will be looking into it, but I get the feeling the shipping cost is going to be crippling to the UK. I might be wrong, but they did, if I remember correctly, a few months ago, a box set of all three On the Buses movies, and there were a lot of complaints about that one, basically saying that they'd done nothing to remaster them, clean them up. They were basically just sort of DVD copies upgraded to Blu-ray or upscaled or whatever they call it. So I don't know. I'd be very curious to see whether you grab these, Jason, and then you can tell me whether they are worth doing, because I'd be most miffed if I invest in these things and they don't turn out to be any better than the DVD copies that I've got. I'm sure they will do, because the amount of extras that are on the Halloween 2 disc, it looks like it's going to be something worth owning, I reckon. So I look forward to finding out more about that. Let's see. I'm thinking of starting my own version of Never Seen It. Now, you're probably all thinking, my God, he's got enough going at the moment, don't introduce anything else. But it's just something I fancy doing. I'm thinking of calling it Under the Radar. These are movies that have flown under my radar for years. And, I've just basically been urged to take a look at this, that and the other. So I'll see how that goes. But if I do it, I'll probably call it something like Under the Radar. China O'Brien. Cynthia Rothrock. I've never seen a Cynthia Rothrock movie. I believe I've got one upstairs. Is it called Lady Reporter? I believe that's one of hers. So I wouldn't mind a lot, but I do remember the VHS being in the video library when I worked there, of China O'Brien. Um, I say it's coming to 4K. Guy, you say great film. Dave Lowe already got an order in for these. Been waiting patiently for these classic Rothrock movies. Chris, this is a must for me. A double 4K whammy for the win. I can't wait. I would, if there was ever a Cynthia Rothrock movie that I was going to buy blind, it would probably be China O'Brien, because it's got the reputation of being a cracking action movie and martial arts. So yeah, I will be taking. I will be grabbing a copy of that one at some point. And 4K, it's going to look great in it. So Chris, you put a post on. This is probably going back a few weeks. I'm trying to mop up some of these bits that I've sort of articles and things that I've had hanging around for weeks. You put a post on about Basket Case coming to 4K. I've never seen Basket Case. This could be one of 1001 movies that shocked the world. I don't know yet. But you put, Chris, you put, I need this when released. 80s comedy horror at its finest. Jason P. Been a while since I've seen this, probably about 30 years now. And Jason, have you ever seen Monkey Shines? That's another fucked up film. I think I saw that a long time ago. Is this about the paraplegic guy that gets a little monkey to do jobs for him or something like that, and it turns psychotic or something? I'm sure I've seen it, but a long, long time ago. But it's definitely one that I would like to revisit now. You've mentioned it on there, so yeah, that's one I'm going to be taking in. I'm going to add that to the watch list. Right, I'm going to take another quick break, folks, because I'm coming up to 28 minutes. I've still got some stuff to get through. It's going to be a long one today by the looks of it, so I'll be back in a couple of minutes. And we're back. I really do need to trim the length of these things down. This is going to be close to 2 hours by the time I've finished. Let's see. I did yesterday my first movie from this book, 1001 Movies That Shocked the World. This is the first movie that I picked from it. It's called Eyes Without a Face. I think the French title is Les Yeux Sans Visage. This is a black and white horror movie from 1960. It's a French movie. It's subtitled. It's set in and around Paris. I love Paris of that era. So watching this was pretty much a delight, apart from the grisly bits. Why did it shock the world? I have to say that a lot of the surgery scenes are pretty graphic, especially for the time. The only movie that came close to this way back then was Psycho, Hitchcock's Psycho, and even that wasn't as graphic as this one was. It basically tells the story of a plastic surgeon whose daughter is disfigured in a car crash caused by him, and he's basically tracking down young girls in Paris, drugging them, and basically taking their faces off and grafting them onto his daughter's face, with varying degrees of success. It is a really, really well-made movie. I really enjoyed this. If this had been a bin it or keep it, it would definitely have been a keeper. The performances were excellent. The black and white photography was just superb. Paris has never looked more beautiful to me, in amongst all the chaos that was going in amongst this one. But I really, really enjoyed it. As I say, the surgery scenes are pretty graphic. They were a lot more graphic than anything else that was about at the time. And with it partly being to do with eyes, it was a little bit difficult to take. But I'm really glad that I saw this. There's a lot of extras on this disc. There's a lot of short films by the director, Georges Franju, which I'm going to be taking in before I put this back on the shelf. But yeah, if you've never seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. It's an awesome film. Really, really enjoyed it. The next movie that I'm going to take from this, let's see. I'll flick through it and I'll pick one. Just bear with me. What have I got? Oh my god. Okay. 1972, Wes Craven's directorial debut, The Last House on the Left. I haven't seen that for many, many years. I think I remember seeing that on a really ropey 5th or 6th generation VHS copy, and I believe it was when the movie was banned, and it was banned for quite a few years on the Video Nasties list in the 80s. I saw it and don't remember being too impressed with it, but I did spot a copy on Amazon on Blu-ray for about £7, so I thought, do you know what, I'll grab a copy of that, and now that is going to be my next movie from 1001 movies that shocked the world. It'll be interesting to see whether it holds up, because the movie is now over 50 years old. Will it still be shocking? Let's see. That one certainly was, and this is 60 years old, over 60 years old. So yeah, I'll let you know what I think of that one when I've watched it. Last House on the Left from 1972. That is the next one from that book. Dave Oliver and Mike, the real Fifth Beatle, you did a video, just let me get my notes, a few weeks back, the top 32 slasher movies. I was listening to that podcast while I was cleaning at work one day, and I kept having to pull this piece of paper out and write them down. There were one or two surprises on that list. Let me go through these now. Not as much of a surprise as you both saying that The Exorcist and The Shining were overrated. What? Really? So, your opinion. Let's see, let me go through these very quickly. 32, number 32, Friday the 13th, the original. You were saying that a lot of fans of the actual franchise do not like the original. It's my favourite, as you know. I love the original Friday the 13th. So I absolutely can't agree with them on that one. Number 31, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Really, really good. Enjoyed that one. Number 30, Silent Night, Deadly Night. This is the Killer Santa Claus movie. I remember watching it years ago. Really entertaining. I thought it was really good. I know it caused a bit of a stink when it first came out. Basically, from parents' groups saying that you can't turn Santa Claus, a beloved childhood figure, into an axe-wielding murderer. Yes, they could, actually, and they did. Did quite a decent job. 29, Friday the 13th, Part 4. I know, Dave, this is one of your favourites. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good, but it's definitely not my favourite. I would say the original and Friday the 13th, Part 2. Number 28, Haunt. I've not seen this, but I have spotted it on, it's either Prime or Shudder. I can't remember which it is. But I know you quite enjoyed it, so I'm going to be taking a look at that. Number 27, House of Wax. This is not the original Vincent Price version from 1953, is it? This is the Paris Hilton movie, which I've not seen. I wouldn't mind a look at it. I've bumped into it by accident a couple of times on sort of ITV4 late at night, but never stayed awake long enough to watch any sort of part of it, so I do need to take that one in. 26, You're Next. Never seen it. I know it's a home invasion movie. Dave, I think it's one of your favourites, so that's one I need to take in. 25, Elm Street Part 2. You watched that when you were about 13. Wow. That would have scarred me for life. My thoughts on that one, I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a cracking movie, but it was a completely different animal to the original, wasn't it? It was a lot more graphic, a lot more violent, a lot gorier, but it was really, really well done. And I know it didn't go down well with fans of the original franchise, but I think it's gained a cult following, another of those, over the years. So yeah, I can see that one. 24, Sleepaway Camp. God, that final scene. It's one that I need to watch again. I would love to see Sleepaway Camp again. I thought it was great. That's another one I need to watch. 23, Blood and Black Lace. This is Italian giallo film. Now, I've not seen that many giallo films. I think the nearest I've ever gotten to it is Dressed to Kill, the Brian De Palma movie, which is very much a nod to the original giallo movies. 22, My Bloody Valentine, the original, absolutely superb. Did quite enjoy the remake of that one. Didn't think I would, but after watching it, I thought, you know what, that wasn't bad as far as remakes go. 21, Bay of Blood. This is Mario Bava, and you reckon it influenced Friday the 13th, which makes me want to dig it out and take a look. So I will be taking in that one. Let's see. Oh, I think one of your people commented that they can't get into anything that's in black and white. Oh dear, that kind of cancels out half of Hollywood, doesn't it? So, um, I tried to track down, by the way, They Came From Within. It's a book that you mentioned on, is it New Zealand Horror Cinema? It is going for stupid prices, so I'm going to wait until someone's selling it for a sensible amount, and I'll grab a sort of a copy of that. You're also talking about Crystal Lake Memories, the book. It's a cracking book. It is absolutely brilliant. It's not one that I could read cover to cover, but it is definitely one that I can dip into. I've actually got a couple of other Friday the 13th making of books, which I'll dig out and I'll show off on next week's if I think on. Let's see. Bear with me. Number 20, Final Destination. Enjoyed it a lot more than I did any of the sequels. 19, Scream 2. Thought it was all right, but yeah, no, not overly keen. I did enjoy the first one though. Freaky at number 18. Never seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. 17, Scream 4, same as Scream 2. 16, Cabin in the Woods. I know you loved it. It didn't do an awful lot for me. Maybe I need to take another look at that one. 15, American Psycho. Never read the book. I don't remember much about it apart from the fact that Christian Bale was in it, and it garnered quite a bit of controversy when it came out, but above that I don't know. 14, X. This is one that I've been dying to see for ages, and I believe it is on either Film 4 or Shudder, or is it Prime? I do need to track that one down and have a look, because I've heard the sequel Pearl is absolutely superb. 13, Elm Street 3. Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. My enduring memory of that is when I worked at the video shop, that Elm Street 3 was due to be released, and the owners of the business got an invite to a screening in Birmingham of this movie. Now, I'd never seen it. They took me along because they said it'll be good for you because you can watch it and then you can recommend it to customers. What a night. Absolutely amazing night. Brilliant movie. They took me for a meal afterwards, dropped me off at home. It was just a lovely night. So my memories of Elm Street 3 are this, and it is a brilliant movie. Number 12, It Follows. I think I need to watch that one again. I don't think I got the full treatment with that one. Wes Craven's New Nightmare at 11. Only seen it once, don't remember being overly impressed with it. 10, Candyman. You said it was overrated. I tend to agree. That's going to be a controversial one. It just didn't do much for me. It just didn't. 9, Child's Play. Love the original. Didn't rent much to the remake. The sequels were okay up until 3, and that was the one that got banned, if I remember right. It got caught up in the video nasty thing. Number 7, Elm Street 1, total stone cold classic. Scream 1 at number 6, brilliant. 5, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, superb. One of the most amazing portraits of sheer madness I think you can ever see. I think you'd agree with that one, Dave. Number 4, Alien. I heard Alien described as a haunted house movie in space, and that was a long time ago, but I do remember that. I loved Alien. I remember going to see that at Burton Odeon, loving it, apart from the chest burster. Number 3, Halloween. It had to be in there, didn't it? Complete classic. Number 2, Psycho. I thought Psycho 2 was better. Well, not better, but as good, if not better, than the original. I remember going to see that and going into it with very low expectations, thinking this is going to be bleeding rubbish. And it wasn't. It was actually way better than I thought it was going to be. And number 1, and I think this caught you off guard as well, Peeping Tom, the Michael Powell movie. The movie that basically destroyed his career. I loved it. I've seen it 2 or 3 times and really, really enjoyed it. And I believe it's getting a 4K release any time now, so I will be taking that and grabbing a copy of that. And on the back of that, I thought I would show off 5 of my favourite slasher movies. It's actually more than 5. I think it's about 7. Maybe, I don't know. First one, See No Evil. This stars Mia Farrow as a blind girl being stalked by a killer. She lives in the middle of nowhere. They've got stables attached to the house. What she doesn't realise is, um, while she's been out, her whole family and everybody in the place has been murdered, and the killer is still in the house. And it's basically that this killer is stalking this blind girl. Um, it also had a title, if I remember right, Blind Terror. I believe it was known as Blind Terror when it came out. That was 1971. I haven't seen that for years, but I would love to watch it again. Can't have a slasher list without the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's absolutely brilliant. Again, I remember this coming out in 1974. It was only available to watch in London cinemas and certain council cinemas at the time. Nowhere else would screen it. And it is also one of those movies that you hear it is outrageously gory and violent, but I think this is one of those films whereas you think you've seen things that you've not actually seen. Being hung up on the meat hook, you don't actually see it happen. You do kind of, but it's nowhere near as graphic as you think it's going to be. But it's a cracking movie. Toby Hooper's directorial debut with that one. This is one that didn't get much sort of publicity when it first came out, but I really enjoyed it. It came out on the back of like Friday the 13th, Halloween, all that sort of thing. Madman. Basically the same sort of thing. A group of kids in the woods camping out, run into this complete and utter nut who's clubbing them over the head with hammers and knives and all sorts. I thought this was really good for what it was. That's another one. These are in no particular order, by the way. The best version of My Bloody Valentine, the original. You can't beat this. It is just superb. I think somebody described it, might have been you, Dave, has described it as a kind of a comfort blanket kind of horror film. I'm not sure I'd describe it like that, but it is good. Really, really good. This is one of my favourite British movies from 1971. Stars Susan George, Honor Blackman, Ian Bannon and John Gregson. John Gregson was famous, well, most famous for me, for being in Genevieve in 1955 with Kenneth More and Dinah Shaw. Fright. This is the movie that kicked off the killer babysitter, or the babysitter being stalked cycle. I just thought it was really good. I love Susan George to bits. I will watch anything that she's in. Straw Dogs is one of my all-time favourite movies, but I really enjoy this one. It's just a classic early 70s slasher movie. And the one that I controversially said was better than the original, I think it is as good. I think really do. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. I watched all of the Psycho movies fairly recently, and I think after this one, I think they went a bit off. Whether I'll be getting that Arrow box set of all of them, I don't know, because really it's only Psycho 1 and Psycho 2 that I bother with. So. And finally, this is one of my favourites. I remember watching this when it first came out, about 1981. It stars Linda Blair. I always remember the story they tell at the beginning, and it sent chills down my spine. Hell Night. Again, it is just a story of a group of college students who are dared to spend the night in Garth Manor, which has got this awful legend attached to it, and they have to spend one night in Garth Manor to join this particular college fraternity. And guess what? It all goes wrong. I haven't seen this for years, but I do remember this has got jump scares galore, and it is really, really well done. So if you've not seen it, Hell Night is totally, completely and utterly recommended by me. So now then, I read an article just recently. Let me just scroll back up my notes again. Michael Caine, here we go, yes. Basically saying Michael Caine was asked to name 10 of his favourite movies of his. And some of the choices surprised me. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was one, which I thought was great fun. Steve Martin was in that with him. The Man Who Would Be King, which I've never seen but always wanted to see, with it being a kind of a historical type film. Hannah and Her Sisters, a Woody Allen movie. Alfie, Lewis Gilbert. God, I saw Alfie just recently. that is truly shocking stuff nowadays. Talk about politically incorrect, bloody hell. Um, some of the lines of dialogue in that, you think, oh my God, you never ever get away with that nowadays. Another one was Sleuth, which he starred in with Laurence Olivier, which I really enjoyed, but I haven't seen it for years. It's a two-hander. It's literally just him and Laurence Olivier, and lots of dialogue. Really, really good. Um, Now then, I thought I'd pick out my six favourite Michael Caine movies. First one, The Italian Job. Now, before you all scream at me when I say I've never seen it, I've seen bits of it, and I know for a fact that I would completely and utterly enjoy this. So I will be taking it in, but I've not actually seen it all the way through, but I am certain I will enjoy it. Next one, Dressed to Kill. I've seen this many, many times. Absolutely love it. Angie Dickinson is superb in this, and Michael Caine is just on his A game with this one, playing the psychiatrist. It's a Brian De Palma shocker. I thought this was Brian De Palma at his absolute height. The only thing he's done I thought that was better than this, and I'm not even sure I'll class it as better, but as good as, is Carrie in 1976 with Sissy Spacek. But Dressed to Kill, I absolutely love. It's obviously a homage to, or homage as I think they call them now, to Alfred Hitchcock and Psycho. But yeah, really, really enjoyed that, and still continue to enjoy it to this day. Zulu, my dad introduced me to this one. I used to watch it with him every time it was on. It was just an amazing movie. And Michael Caine, I think this was one of his very, very early roles as a British officer. I just love it. I haven't seen it for a long time. They did a sequel called Zulu Dawn, which I think was 1979, and I've not seen that for years. That had some cast members in that. I think Phil Daniels was in that, Bob Hoskins, Burt Lancaster. It was an all-star cast, so I need to get a hold of Zulu Dawn and watch those two back to back. Where are we? Death Trap. If you like Agatha Christie style movies, this is an absolute must. You will absolutely love this. It stars Michael Caine, Diane Cannon, and Christopher Reeve. Caine plays the author of a playwright, basically, who's fallen on hard times and gets through the post a play from a complete amateur, played by Christopher Reeve, and he plans to kill him for that play to get him back on track again. Brilliant movie. Dialogue is superb. So many twists and turns. Again, I've not seen this for ages, but it is a brilliant movie. And the choice between the two, I struggled with this one, and I'm still not sure where I'm going to. Hannah and her Sisters. I loved this. Absolutely adored it, and I still do. It's a Woody Allen comedy. Basically about three sisters. Michael Caine is married to one of them, but secretly in love with one of the others. It is a typical Woody Allen movie. If you don't like Woody Allen films, you probably won't like this. But if you enjoyed movies like Radio Days, Annie Hall, Sleeper, that kind of thing, this is a must. I thought this was, if I had to name my favourite Woody Allen movies, I would say either this one or Annie Hall. I know that's two. But those two are just brilliant. And what's number one? You know what's number one. Get Carter. The best, well, one of the best gangster movies, British gangster movies ever made. The only one that comes even close to this, in my opinion, is The Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins. And a close second to that would probably be the original version of The Craze, starring the Kemp brothers. This is just brilliant. If you've never seen Get Carter, please grab a copy and watch it. It is one of the finest British movies ever made, and definitely one of the best British gangster movies ever made. And Michael Caine has never been so cold and calculating as he is in this. So yeah, if you've not seen Get Carter, you need to grab that. Right, I've got a stack of stuff here that I want to show off that I've bought over the last couple of weeks. Just bear with me. And then I'm going to sign off because you've got nearly 2 hours worth to get through. I'd have to do it in stages if it was me. I don't, you know what, I'm so grateful that you guys actually sit and listen to me prattling on. And there's me saying last week I need to bring it down to 30 minutes. Good luck with that one. So, right, magazines first. Infinity. I love this magazine. I need to resubscribe to it. I got this from W.H. Smith's yesterday, but you got articles in there on $6 Million Man, Grange Hill, Lost in Space Star, Major Don. That's, what was his name? Mark Goddard. He died recently. So yeah, that's one. Latest issue of Scream magazine. You've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jaws 3D, Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, To the Devil a Daughter, Pumpkinhead, Night Swim. Oh God, Night Swim, really? The House of Crazies, Asylum. Asylum was brilliant. Deadly Friend, brilliant Wes Craven movie. Not seen much nowadays, but brilliant. Got the latest copy of Empire. The latest copy of Yours Retro, which I enjoy a read of that. SFX, which I got this, but there's not much in it that would appeal to me as such. But there is an article or a piece on Close Encounters of the Third Kind, revisit a Spielberg classic. I'd have bought it just for that. And they got Doctor Who, behind the scenes of the Nkuti Gatwa era. That's the new Doctor. What else we got here? Thundercats, never seen it. Star Trek, love it. Robin of Sherwood, never seen it. Black Panther, never seen it. So I'll have a read of that. And also the latest Total film, which I shall be having a read of. Now, these probably belong in Retro Music Zone, but I thought I'd show them off because we were talking about these the other week, and Jason was encouraging me to grab hold of them because they were on sale in HMV. The Now Yearbook 79, the Now Yearbook Extra 73. I have actually got the Now Yearbook 73. It's in the car at the moment. I can't be asked to go on. Now Yearbook 79. Extra was that one. Now Yearbook 78. And Now Yearbook 78 Extra. Let's see, DVDs and... Well, let's do books first. I've only got one. I've been dying to get a copy of this for so long. It's finally come down in price. This is Mark Kermode's book on The Exorcist. He wrote this quite a few years ago, and up until a few weeks ago it was going for stupid prices everywhere, sort of 50, 60 pound. Then they announced The Exorcist 50th anniversary deluxe box set, and this book was a part of it. But I was a bit reluctant to grab it because everything else that I got, all the editions of The Exorcist on film, I'd actually got. And what I was going to do was grab that box set just to get this book. I'm glad I didn't, because I picked this up for, I think it was $11.99. It's obviously been reissued or something, so I'm looking forward to having a read of that. Right, DVDs and Blu-rays. Jaws 3. Oh, an odd choice, I know. But I've got Jaws 1, I've got Jaws 2 on 4K. This is the only one that I've never seen apart from Jaws 4 The Revenge, which I got fairly recently, probably a few weeks ago. I saw this is actually a German print, but it's a beautiful Blu-ray. It's not got many extras on it, in fact, if any. I think the only one is Jaws 3 in 3D, which I'm definitely not bothered about watching. But I've always been curious to, get a hold of why this had such a horrible reputation when it came out. Apparently it's really bad, but I'll tell you when I've actually watched it. This was recommended to me by 3 people at work. Never seen it. Rock of Ages. I think they were talking about it, and I just happened to comment that I'd never seen it, and they basically insisted that I grab a copy of it at some point. Cruise is brilliant, apparently. This is the extended edition. The Sun calls it ridiculously good fun. I know nothing about it, apart from the fact that I got this for about £1.70 something, so I thought, fuck it, why not? I'm coming to the end of Doctor Who and the Power of the Daleks. I've got one episode to watch, which I'm going to try and watch later this morning. I move on to this one. This is the Underwater Menace. This is the next story in the Troughton era. So I'm really looking forward to watching that. This was given to me. I wasn't even sure I wanted it, but I thought if it's going for nothing, I'll have it. The Amityville Horror Collection. And what you've got here is 4 discs. You've got the original Amityville Horror, Amityville 2 The Possession, Amityville 3D, which I think I've seen once and wasn't overly impressed with, and a documentary called Amityville Confidential. So once I've watched them, I will they will definitely be a binnet. To go with the Chaplin thing that I'm doing at the moment, I grabbed a hold of this. I'd never heard of it, but I bumped into it on Prime of all places, and I thought, I wonder if that's available on DVD. And I grabbed a copy of this for, I think it was about $7.99. Young Charlie Chaplin. Obviously, this is to do with his very, very early years. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that as part of the Chaplin thing I'm doing. And finally, a box set that I've wanted for ages. I'd have preferred this to be Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray box sets of Woody Allen are just going for stupid prices, and this is a good collection. Just look at that little lot. I think this cost me about 20 quid, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab that. You've got Broadway Danny Rose, Crimes and Misdemeanors, Manhattan, Melinda and Melinda, Interiors, Love and Death, Another Woman, Bananas. There's loads. Radio Days, September. There is loads. There's not many of his movies that aren't in that box set, and for 20 quid, I thought I'll grab that. So, right, I am coming up to 30 minutes. I can't believe I've rambled on for 2 hours. It has got to be shorter next week. Got to be. So, all I can say is thanks ever so much for tuning in. Thanks ever so much for bearing with me, prattling on for this long. Have a brilliant week, folks. I'll be back with you roughly the same time next week. It will not be 2 hours next week, I guarantee you. But I suppose it depends on what you give me to talk about. The more, as I've always said, the more you give me to talk about, the more I will sit here and prattle. But I would really, really love to trim the length of these down a bit. So, right, thanks ever so much for joining me again. Have a brilliant week, folks, and I will talk to you all again about the same time next week. Take care. Ta-da.